I'll leave that with you. How's that sound?
All right, folks, welcome to your grand final, the Australian Ultimate Championships Division II 2024 here in Shepparton, Victoria. It's Fishwick Unit versus the Geelong Mudlarks. My name is Willem Garnier. I'm joined in the booth by a very special guest.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. I'm Aucdii Mullen. I am just filling in briefly from playing on Ellipsis Pilcrow this weekend, actually, Blair.
And if you have been watching along at home, folks, you will have seen Aucdii Mullen do a huge amount of work on the field for Ellipsis Pilcrow. She's just taken some time out of her incredibly busy Ultimate schedule to join us in the booth, but she'll be leaving a little bit later on the match to get warmed up for the women's final, which we're really excited to see up next. It's going to be Wollongong Surge and Ellipsis Pilcrow.
Very exciting to be here. Thanks for having me, Blair.
Absolute pleasure. ULTI.TV doing the very best and bringing you Ultimate to your screens here in Australia and around the world. Now, Aucdii, you're familiar with quite a lot of these Mudlarks players. You know them pretty well. You know the names. You know what their play style is like. What are your predictions for this game? And don't be afraid about getting it wrong, because the two best things you can do are be right or be wrong as a commentator.
Oh, my predictions for this game is that they're going to play really hard, really intense, and a really big, long game. They're going to utilise their big boys, Jake Angelovich, Joshua Phillip, Mark Isherwood. They're going to be playing lots of deeps, use those big boys, get their bodies into the big contests.
Absolutely, and I mean, that matches with what we've seen from the Mudlarks already. They've played a really aggressive match defense predominantly, certainly through the games that we've seen covered, really trusting that athleticism. And it's not going to stop Kyle Mitchell, though, getting the under from Bethune. But it is going to stop that second pass coming away.
I think there was a bit of contact from Tim Wise there, Blair.
So those cuts are going to come back to where they were, as though the contact had never happened. Mitchell fires away the up line, marked by Trotter. Finds Garbutt. Goes to Gentle. Finds Sanger. Right on the doorstep. Can they close it out?
Oh.
Yes. Oh, they can. Alex Sanger with the one. Fishwick unit currently up. Some great line work there. It's a hard thing to do. Aucdii, you'll probably have a lot more knowledge about this than I will. I mean, we saw in your match against Zag Theory just before, they threw down a zone really nice and aggressive. They were committing a lot of players to the front of that disc. 4 players. You were doing a great job filling in for those resets, coming back in, working the midfield. But once you're trapped on the sideline, it's really easy to just lose all that width of the field and have your focus really narrowed along the sideline. What's one of the things that you find most difficult about being in that situation? What's one of the things you like most about forcing that situation against your opponents?
Oh, when you force that situation, essentially what you're trying to do is trap them on that sideline and give them the most limited amount of options possible. As a handler, what you want to try and do is move the disc off the sideline back to the centre of the field. But the only way you can do that is if the space is created. And if people keep running and crowding that sideline, that space isn't going to be there to centre it.
Absolutely. And so, despite the difficulties associated with being trapped on the sideline, we saw Fishwick able to string together a series of upline connections and put that point away. So we'll see how the Mudlarks are adjusting to that. They're able to get the disc to the sideline, but what can they do to stop the Fishwick momentum? Nice inside shot. Quick chains of passes.
With Broad. Broad looks back to the centre of the field. Nice. With Hudson on the far sideline. Tim Wise getting involved. He's looking. He wants to shoot it. He wants to shoot it. Who's there? They're right on the sideline there. Number 41. He's looking for the sideline. He goes. Wise is going down. Phillip. Oh, he takes a tumble.
Matthews Hunter puts it into space for the layout from McManus of all people. It's Fishwick unit to take possession. Bethune, Khan, working hard. Andy Chen pushes towards the far sideline. It's Varley now. Varley on the sideline. Some aggressive unders, but McManus still pinned down on the sideline. We're seeing the Mudlarks able to force them to those sidelines, but not to do much with it once they get them there. Matthews Hunter aggressive on the
Oh!
chase. Can't quite get it, but it's still going to be enough pressure. We're seeing the turn. Mudlarks with a shot to come back the other way.
No one looking like they want the disc there, Blair. Everyone's walking away from it.
I mean, that's always the peril of having a game after lunch. You're not hungry anymore.
Phillip with the disc. Wise with an immediate undercut. Looks him off. Justin Mack down the line looks him off. Louis Broad's trying him for the dump space. There's Angelovic. He's trying to find something. Cron provided a big around but didn't look for it. Louis Broad taking a lot of contact there, but he finds it. And it's up! It's up! You've got Cron and Phillip. Oh, Phillip's got it. He's got Hudson. He's looking for the around. He's on Angelovic down the line. Angelovic is going hard. He looks him off. Clearing. Matthews Hunter's absolutely crowding that space there.
Tom Harvey aggressive on the defense, but the throw shot.
Angelovic. There is a call on the throw, though, Blair. We've gone the whole way back.
Goodness gracious. I mean, looks like they're on a different field entirely. Aucdii, I got to be honest, I'm not really sure what kind of impact they've had, but it looks like they'll allow that conversation to resolve. I mean, that's the thing, right? Ultimate is, surprise of no one, an exciting game. Once that blood gets up and the pressure starts coming on, you get that roaring in your ears, and the only things you can hear are the stall count and people's names.
Looks like there's been an injury from McManus, if we're seeing that correctly. I think the discussion now is, did the injury affect what continued to happen downfield?
So we do have a game advisor present on the field as Angelovic walks back towards the crowd to continue the discussion. Looks like players are going to reset.
The disc is going back to Phillip. He was the receiver from that big backhand from Louis Broad. So it looks like we're just resetting after the reception of that one. Looks like stall count's also going to come in on one. So we're just resetting the play from there.
And so Phillip right on the doorstep as well. Got Eppelston on the mark.
He's got Kieran Hudson in yards of space there, but he overlooks him.
Varley too tight on the shoulder to let that one go through. Eppelston doesn't want it, but Phillip's going to put it away.
Kieran Hudson.
Only gone and done it. Mudlarks to tie the game, folks. 1-1, a race to 15.
Lots of big plays already. Really early on.
I mean, we did try and get a little bit of inside information before the game started. We spoke to the Mudlarks coach. He's basically said that Fishwick, they're quite disciplined, quite drilled. They like to sort of cycle through in terms of their handlers to set up great, safe options. We don't like the phrase boring ultimate, but safe ultimate, whereas Mudlarks a little bit more prone to just keeping it close to the red line. Really gearing things up, making those big highlight plays. I mean, again, that huge shot from Phillip, just phenomenal across the bows. We'll see it again. Broad with the backhand all the way back down before that injury called. And so we've got the Mudlarks to come out on defense. Unit giving the signal for readiness. Howard with the pull.
An interesting thing that came up in our previous semi-final there, Blair, was quite a few offsides.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's one of those things on defense as a player, as we see Sanger and Bethune working hard with Mitchell on the near sideline. Another call on the field. So, a lot of offsides. You get really hungry on defense. You're not allowed to cross the line before the disc is released from the puller's hand. In the event of an offside, disc is brought back to that brick mark. Play's going to resume. We're going to find Mitchell. Puts a big shot up.
Whoa!
Goes with the one hand. There was maybe a little bit of contact on that. We'll see if Parl is going to call it. It's no. Mudlarks are going to take possession. Right on that sideline, we see Elliot Trotter to pick up and initiate. Bethune switching assignments to mark up as the Mudlarks set up in a vertical sack in the middle of the field.
It's a very deep stack.
It absolutely is. It looks like they're trying to give those handlers a lot of room to work.
Nothing coming through yet. Down the line cut. Looks him off. Needs a fill. But he jacks it up. He's got underneath it. No one.
Eaten by Mitchell. That's something that we're seeing a lot of. I think because the conditions are so stable down here by the ground, people are putting the big shots up where the wind is going to be a little bit stronger. The further away from the ground you are, the higher the disc goes, the more impact it's going to have. So we're seeing a lot of these shots go up, even on late stall counts. You'd expect them to be stable as Bethune's looking to close. You'd expect them to be stable, but they lose a little bit of that edge and start to peel over early. And that's where we're seeing a lot of turnovers come from in this tournament. Mitchell with a big fake. Finds the wide open pile. Mudlarks looking to close. Back to Mitchell. High shot up, looking for Sanga.
Oh!
Not going to get it.
Looks
There's
like
contact.
might be a bit of a foul called there.
It's an interesting option as well. I mean, a safe reset might not feel as dramatic, as useful, or as I guess progressive in terms of building that momentum. But the thing that I've always said anytime I've coached a team is that possession is more important than position. If you have possession, you can regain position. If you have position but you don't have possession, you're playing defense.
No one likes playing defense there. Oh.
Great around shot. Not gonna do it. Oh my God, Father. An absolute nail biter. There were two Fishwick unit players underneath that one. The disc came in a little bit hot. It's almost like these Fishwick boys are trying to moonlight with a lawn mowing company.
Being picked up again by Elliot Trotter.
Recenters to Medic.
Perfect positioning on the field right now.
Marked by Burt. Trotter.
Trotter doing some work to get that movement. Back to Medic. He's looking to swing it. Nope. Fakes the hammer. Pointing. Move here. He puts it up.
Great work by...
And centers it back. He's got it. Oh, he looked like he was going to put it then. He's faking the hammer again. He needs some under options, and there's not really much coming. Trotter gets on his trot on. He's in power position. He puts it off. He's needing some clear options. Oh, great grab there. Number 25, far sideline.
Just Bethune so aggressive on the mark, but it's not going to be enough. You can't play defense by yourself. Trotter hasn't let go yet.
Very aggressive mark. Oh, he's looking like he's gearing up for it. Finds Medic again. He wants the swing, but there's nothing there.
Players cutting into that underspace now.
Trotter doing, oh, great grab.
Huge play from the Globetrotter. Puts a long shot up.
Oh, get big.
What a fantastic point there. A long point too. We are 12 minutes into our game. The score is only 2-1. Now, I always try and keep a positive outlook and say that anytime you have a long point, it just means both teams are playing good defense. Some less optimistic counterparts throughout the Ultimate community might just say both teams are playing garbage offense, but that is definitely not the case here today. This is the Division II Australian Ultimate Championships Grand Final in the Opens Division. Mudlarks from Geelong up by 1 point over Fishwick unit.
That was a very interesting play there, Blair. The Mudlarks, the handlers were doing so much work. They weren't having the upfield options that they needed, or if they managed to get the dump back to the center of the field, the swing option wasn't available. And that punishes your handlers because they do so much work for very little reward. And what it does is it really tires them out. And tired throws are shit throws.
Absolutely. It's one of those things, as hard as it is, dragging your body and your defender up and down the field on these long sprints, the stop-start, the constant 5-10 meter cuts over and over and over. The fatigue builds so quickly, particularly through the joints as well, with the deceleration, slamming on the brakes, trying to get free from the defender. It's hard work. And one of the worst things I think you can do in that situation when you're very reliant on your handlers doing the work is to take a break in the downfield space. When your downfield cutters, the ones who you're expecting to do the scoring, we're going to see another offside called, as you pointed out, Oakley. Great work. So when we see not a lot developing in the down space, it puts that much more pressure on the handlers. You find your downfield defenders can start to poach. They can start to contribute a little bit more in stopping that handler weave. But it's Mitchell now with the disc. Far sideline, decides to come back, finds Garbutt, centre field. Bethune available as a reset, decides to find Burt. Far sideline, puts the shot up, looking for
Whoa!
Mitchell. He's got him!
Clinical offense there.
That is what Fishwick wanted to see. They needed to answer that long point from the Mudlarks with a quick, snappy offense of their own, and they've only gone and done it to tie the game.
Mudlarks need to take a leaf out of that book. Need to probably bring out some similar offense this point, because if they keep looking through their handlers and don't look downfield, they're going to start turning it more frequently, and that obviously is not what you want to do in a grand final.
Absolutely. I think the other thing that's worth recognising as well, because it is the grand final, this match represents the end of the season for both of these teams. There is nothing left to give up, right? Why not leave it all out? Okay, yeah, if you need to mix things up. Load management is no longer really a problem. The next 13 or so points being played are the only ones that matter for the season at this point. There's a quote, and I wish I could remember who it's by, but essentially, the marathon runner is the ultimate miser who seeks to spend his last penny at the instant he no longer has need of his coin, and it's the same thing here. These players cannot really afford to lose this game unless they're doing it on an empty tank. If you've got anything left to spend, anything left to give, and you don't, you're letting down not just your team, but you're letting yourself down as well.
That was an amazing, amazing pull.
Huge pull. Finds Broad. Comes through to Hudson.
Oh,
Matthews Hunter.
better offense from Mudlarks here.
Absolutely. Fishwick sticking to the tight match defense.
Oh,
huge
Broad.
bid.
And he pops it up. He's got Angelovich long. Oh, so
Horvat
close.
just underneath it with the fingertips.
That's Jake Angelovich with the score there for Mudlarks.
Huge, absolute huge. What a monster. He's gone and done it. It's Mudlarks back up by 1.
Much better offense there from the Mudlarks. They utilise their downfield options, and with that long, wide swing there to Louis Broad, opened up the centre of the field so that forehand was able to cross the lateral thirds, which created the space for Jake Angelovich to run into.
Absolutely.
They need to keep emulating that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not as though Fishwick made that easy for them. We saw some great tight match defense, some impressive bids like on your screen at the moment. But absolutely, as you say, had the space for that forehand, had the outside edge down, so it started to fade away towards the far sideline. Crossing that lateral third, as you say, we always talk about avoiding same third throws. The worst thing for a cutter is to have the disc coming directly behind you, because you can't as easily shoulder check to find its position and figure out where the target and the attack needs to be to pull it down.
So correct there, Blair. As a cutter or as a receiver, if the disc is straight overhead, you have no read on it. You have absolutely no read on it.
And at that point, I mean, pulling it down is as much luck as it is skill. Bethune to field. Finds Gentle, who has apparently, throughout the 18-year history of the club, has been present on this team every time Fishwick unit have made it to a grand final.
That's an achievement.
That's an achievement and a half. And we've got Jaleel. Goes up, finds Sanga.
Steph Chong getting big on the mark.
He wanted to throw that hammer. You could see it in his eyes.
Not sure what the call was there, actually. Was it a pick? I'm not sure. Pick. Thank you, Steve Baker.
Sanga with an opportunity to tie the game.
Whoa!
Was that a block?
Oh, I think there was a tip on the hand from Steph Chong.
Oh, well done, Chong.
And it
what a
absolutely
fantastic.
changed the flight path of that disc. Timeout.
Timeout has been called. Now, we talked about this in the previous game.
The curse of the timeout.
The curse of the timeout. Hard to not be a statistic. Now, Zag Theory were able to generate the turn and then score after a timeout. But it is surprisingly a rarity. So it'll be interesting to see what the Mudlarks are able to do with a long field ahead of them after this timeout.
I think in this circumstance, what the discussion that nearly always happens is that we want to move it away from the end zone and we want to do it quickly. And there's only one way you're going to do that.
Full send.
And that's sending it. Absolutely sending it.
So now it's going to be the same player who called the timeout, who had possession of the disc, who's going to retain possession of the disc. But if you're the Mudlarks and you seem to know them pretty well, Oakley, what kind of thing are you going to do on offense in terms of your structure to give them the most space to send an uncontested huck? The worst case scenario, they're going to get great territory. The best case scenario, they're going to get a score. How are you going to set that up for them after this timeout?
Correct. So they've got Tim Wise picking up the disc, who can absolutely send it if he wants to. What I'd be doing is looking to hit someone on a very quick under, who is then able to, with their use the momentum from that under to send it deep. 2 shots only. A standing huck obviously does not produce the amount of momentum or power that you want it to, as it does when you are receiving the disc and turning and putting it. We'll be looking, when you look down the field right now, you might be looking at someone like Howard, or even your dump. Like the way the dump is set up right there, it looks like it's going to be a quick dishy off into a power position, looking to throw the flick bomb.
I was just thinking the same thing. He's looking downfield, probably for the first 2 or 3 seconds of the stall count. He'll turn to engage Elliot Trotter, who's going to run through, get the disc, and just go full send. No, it was Howard, as you said, pushing towards the far sideline. Who's underneath it? Oh, he's gone and done it. Can he close? Chong wide open, pulling towards the near sideline. No. It's number 7 for the Mudlarks. Michael Dolagai.
I don't want to say I called it, Blair, but I think I called it.
I think you called it too. I mean, you can't really do better than looking at a stack structure thinking, man, if I were in this situation, what I'd really want is someone to peel off the front of the stack for an undercut, get the disc in power position and send it. And exactly as you said, that was a 3-pass offense after the timeout. 1 from Wise to Howard. Howard across, and then that final assist to put Mudlarks up by 2. Huge play there. Just absolutely phenomenal.
That put from Howard, though, it was very, very close to being a goal. It was knocking on the end zone door there, and if that had another meter on it,
it would have been jumped in for a score.
It would have been
absolutely.
jumped in for a score. Would have absolutely milked that one in. As we watch this put here, the mark there was standing off enough as well that he was able to get the inside-out backhand.
I was just thinking that as well. I mean, typically if the mark is going to be a little bit closer, they're going to be forcing towards that far sideline. That's what we saw from their defensive setup. It's going to push the disc towards that far sideline. An inside backhand trying for that break shot would drive it straight with the breadbasket of the defender. But the defender backing off just enough as Elliot Trotter puts up the pull. Backing up just enough, created that window for Howard to exploit. Huge amount of float.
Whoa.
Big chase. It's going to stop the first pass. Yes.
Mudlarks clamping.
Burt getting free. Near sideline, inside break. Finds Patel. Back to Bethune. Losing yards on the reset, but getting position from a commitment bid from the Mudlarks.
Justin Mack directing traffic out there.
Bethune leads him around. And the quick lateral reset to a give-go by way of Kyle Mitchell, and around for Bethune. Can he close it? Huge fake. Oh, my goodness. The Mirror Master's thrown him off. Burt's got it now.
Absolutely sold him tickets on that one there.
Now, what a hammer for the score. Bethune has gone and done it. What a put. Absolutely fantastic. Bringing it back to a 1-point game. The score is 4-3. I think somebody needs to investigate Bethune for a human rights violation. I don't think you're allowed to sell people like that.
He absolutely sold him on that one.
Oh, my goodness.
The fake was so real. The mark just absolutely bit on it.
Oh, my goodness. He's out here fishing. It's ridiculous.
Fishing from Fishwick.
Oh, there it is. And obviously keeping it within 1. They've got the bait, but there's the big hammer. Goes up. We get to see it again. And that's Burt to score. Number 2 for Fishwick unit. Bringing it back within 1. 24 minutes into the game, still anybody's match. An exciting final. We could not be happier about the quality of Ultimate on display here today.
It's interesting that every time we're talking about something that needs to change on field,
they're changing it.
They're changing it. They're changing it straight away.
Horvat with the disc now, number 64. A bit of an arrhythmic run up. Uses that big
Monster.
sweep of the arm. But it's an offside. We've seen some really great outside pulls from him. He's able to get it nice and high with a lot of edge, so it comes down with a good touch and roll. Great territorial opportunity there to really pressure the defense. But obviously when it comes in offside, it's a little bit harder to do that. Huge undercut.
Oh, made him work hard for that one. Matthews Hunter's got a really tight mark on him. Justin Max providing an option. He's in a power position. Is he looking? You know, he looks off up the line. Hark, trying to find his dump. Matthews Hunter's going out there. Phillips coming back in for the fill. There is no swing though. Wise is now providing the swing around, and he looks for the big flick, but nothing is happening downfield.
Hudson really trying to establish some structure in the downfield space, but he's holding those cutters back, forcing the handlers to work. And we talked about how much exhaustion and fatigue that can introduce into your handler set. They're only up by 1. They want to spend a lot of energy because there's nothing to come after this game for either of these teams. But there's still a long road to victory when there's only 1 point in it.
And we're in the middle of the day, 12:30 p.m., in the middle of a rural town in Shepparton. There are no clouds in the sky. It is hot out there. You don't want to be doing any unnecessary running. Phillip is engaged Wise as his dump. He has to lose some ground on that, though. That stack is very far away, and Phillip is coming back again. Argy-bargy on that one.
Manages to get the shoulder on the inside, though. Comes back to lose yards, but still can pin down on the far sideline by Varley. Gets a big fake, comes around. Matthews Hunter getting involved. And Jelic now marked by Harvey.
Oh. Hudson, center of the field. Wise pushing on the far sideline. He's faking the big up. He puts it up.
Looking for Broad.
Got a lot of lip on it.
And he's found him.
He got him.
One of the benefits of playing Ultimate, but also having the experience of being in a commentary booth, getting a lot of time behind a camera, getting to see things from a wider angle, you start looking for how players are going to develop ahead of time, mainly because for those who don't know, for those who've never had the opportunity, and I got to say, Oakley, you're doing a phenomenal job. I know you've done a little bit of commentary before, but you are doing a fantastic job. Just keeping track of who the players are, particularly when you're not that familiar with them. Like, for example, me, I'm from New Zealand to my detriment, so I've met very few of these people before. However, being able to figure out what's happening and just trying to keep mentally a step ahead of the play is such a huge asset to you when you go and return to playing. You start seeing things from a bird's eye view. And just in that one there, even though we had a lot of sequence, you could see Broad pushing deep. And even before the shot went up, he's an appealing target. He's a unit. He's on the wrong team, maybe. He's a unit. He's big, and he's going to pull it down every single time. He's got the height advantage over all of the unit players. And why wouldn't you put that one? So that's a fantastic work there to keep the Mudlarks ahead by 2.
Aiden Howard, I reckon it's going to be a big sweeping inside-out backhand. What do you think here, Blair?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. Oh, he's gone outside in instead. Huge amount of air underneath that. He's done some phenomenal work with pulling, but it bounces straight into the hands of Sanger. Goes by way of Burt to take yards for free.
I'll talk to the disc for you. Not in range.
Jaleel looking for Bethune. It's high, but not too high. He's gone up for it. Comes back around, finds Jaleel. Low release, forehand. Finds Harrison Parle, pinned down on the far sideline. But being given the centre field space, finds Bethune on a reset. There's been a pick called.
Oh.
Now.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting discussion here, Blair.
Now, certainly on things like travels, where a travel is called and the throw is attempted, it has to be a completion or it's an automatic turnover.
Correct.
Now, for something like a pick, is that necessarily the case?
It always comes back to, did it affect?
So, and that's the thing. So we can see that Trotter called the pick on Sanger. Now, if Sanger heard that Trotter had called a pick and stopped running, but would have caught the disc, then yes,
Then
it's
yes,
fair
it-
for the disc to go back. Bethune working hard, driving the far sideline, trying to slip it through the two defenders. Chips in for Sanger. What a banger. Fishwick unit back within one.
Sanger was doing a lot of work on that point.
Oh my goodness. It's one of those things. It's something that I absolutely love. We saw a little bit of it in an open division game a little earlier on in the tournament when we had Claw versus, oh goodness.
Someone.
We had Claw on, and Michael Vo and De Guzman, Ethan De Guzman, the two of those working together, and it was just give, go, slamming on the brakes. Full handler weave the entire field to close that one out. I think they were the only two players who touched it, and I really love to see a good dominator play, exactly like Alex Sanger just put on display for us, getting every second or third touch, using his body to really direct the momentum and the flow of the disc, and all of the other players being in a position to react to that, to step off and give him the room, and come in to help support when he starts to gas out, when he needs an option. It's absolutely great to see, particularly when you just get someone who's feeling hot. They're like, nah, just let me do it.
It's very interesting to see as well the way the rest of the team reacts to someone when they're in that moment, that if someone's getting every second disc because they're tearing it up in a zone, how the team reacts and adjusts.
Absolutely.
Or Justin
that's
Mack
the one.
fumbles that pull reception there.
Great pull by Horvat to pull that one off.
There's nothing happening. Broad's got it again. He's looking big. He puts it up. He's got Jake Angelovic. He's going to almost milk it into the end zone. There we go.
Absolutely.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Mudlarks.
It's unfortunate there for Horvat. You can't teach height. When you're on someone who's as big as Jake Angelovic, when he's jumping up in the air and he's getting a good, head even more on you.
You kind of just have to let it happen.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, cheeky ankle tap does wonders. But this is a non-contact sport, folks. Just a reminder for those at home, please don't take any lessons from me. The only lesson that you should take from me is that it is a privilege and a pleasure to be here to talk through the final match in the Open Division for the Australian Ultimate Championships 2024 Division II. Aiden Howard once again with a pull. Now we're seeing him on the near sideline now. His condition's still pretty stable. There's not a lot of wind. I think this might be that big inside-out backhand that you were talking about before, just based on his position on the field for the pull.
I've got to agree with you there, Blair. I've got to agree with you.
Now, do you think we're going to see, and we can talk about it now because no one's going to know about this until they watch the streams later on, do you think we're going to see some nice dominator action from Pilcrow in your final up next?
Absolutely.
Are you going to do that one, just do that one for us on the stream?
I wouldn't have it any other way, Blair.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Asher Gentle kicking things off, finds Kyle Mitchell on the undercut. Millard Cartwright to Patel, near sideline.
Massive mark from Isherwood.
Struggling to get around it. Has to go to Garbutt instead. Huge shot up for Burt and the score to bring it back to 1. Mudlarks 6 over Fishwick Unit 5.
That's the second point we've seen where Fishwick had just continued to just move it down the sideline. They didn't really at all look to centre the disc during that point. They just kept the open side cutters just kept coming and coming and coming.
And that I think is a really, really interesting thing because as we sort of talked about, as a handler, you typically do want to move the disc off back into the center field to use the width, right? We're not here on a tightrope. We don't just have to use the 1 meter edge of the field. So what does that tell you about Fishwick unit? The trust that they have in the athleticism for their downfielders who are able to keep making those cuts.
Or it says great things about their cutters that they can continually get open on the open side because generally when you're marking downfield, you're marking into the open space to try and prevent those cutters. So it says great things about the Fishwick cutters and the trust of the speed in them. Dare I say, it also potentially says a bit about the throw because to be able to centre the disc, you either have to have the confidence to thread the inside flick or float the around backhand. Maybe the receiver isn't as confident to centre that throw, so instead they're just going to throw the open option, which is downfield, which there is absolutely nothing wrong with either.
Absolutely. Horvat with the big outside pull. Whoa. Now, here's my other question. What would you do if you were a Mudlarks defender trying to stop Fishwick from doing that? They've shown they can do that exact play a couple times. But if you commit to taking away the centre field on the mark, you're giving up that open side, and you know that those open side cutters are able to bring into that space and continue the movement of the disc.
I mean, there are lots of different things you could do, and it depends on what you're willing to give up, because in defence, you're always, the discussion always is, if we take away this, we are giving them that. And I think for the Mudlarks, they're needing to make a decision on what's more dangerous.
Broad putting the huck up, looking for Angelovic again. Oh, he's done it! Oh, my goodness.
Oh!
Jeez, Angelovic, did you give him a haircut while you were up there? My God, Father, what a take.
Far out.
Broad and Angelovic. Now, there are 7 players on a field, but sometimes the Mudlarks are going to say, we only need 2. And they are now 2 points up.
You only need to score a goal with a thrower and a receiver, Blair. That's all you need.
Absolutely. Everybody else is just there to applaud. Great attempt by Parl. I think he's probably left a fingerprint on the inside of the disc on that attempt, but Angelovic came down with it.
It looks like Jake Angelovic grabbed that with just his fingertips. There was not much on that at all.
What a machine. And he's done it a couple of times, and so it raises the question, what do Fishwick have as an answer to the Angelovic problem?
And to the Louis Broad huck.
Oh, exactly. I mean, at what point do you start trying to over-assign defense on him? Just mark him flat up to try and stop the huck, but in doing so, as you say, in defense, you can't take away everything. You're then giving up those lateral passes. Broad is not the only power thrower on this Mudlark side. So if you try too hard to isolate him, you're overcommitting your resources, and you're going to give up another opportunity.
Oh, that pull from Joshi Phillip. He pulled right from the corner there. A very big inside-out backhand, and it went out very early and did not come back in. Fishwick are going to gain a lot of easy ground right now.
Now, they are going to gain a lot of easy ground, but what's the problem? We've seen Fishwick pinned down on the sideline, and their go-to is to use the parlance of our times, cram it in the cram hole. And so, we see that first centering pass. Oh, Bethune, you lucky devil. Tries to go through Sangha. Bethune again. Patel cutting into the deep space. Sangha can't quite finish it off. Pick being called in the end zone, which would explain why Millard Cartwright was so free on that open side.
Had an acreage there.
I think he was about to put down roots and build a house. Isherwood focused on defense now, looking to cram that space.
Oh!
Gets a bite, but it's enough. Oh, you can see him wind up and holster.
And there it is!
Isherwood.
There it is! Oh. There's probably going to be a foul called here.
Bethune and Phillip making a question. Looks like no call,
No
possibly.
call. No. Interesting thing on that one was as soon as Sanger looked to centre the disc, that was when Fishwick turned it.
Interesting. That is very, very interesting. And Bethune couldn't get it. Spend more time playing Flutterguts, my boy. It's a tough thing. We're seeing an injury called.
Oh, Mark Isherwood coming off. Maybe it's a sore knee, sore calf, sore hammy, something of a little limpy there.
And so, Phillip to pick up for the Mudlarks, hoping to take half here. A crucial opportunity. We'll see that again. It was the little dish pass that couldn't make it.
So the thing is Joshi Phillips picking it up. Mudlarks are going towards left of screen here. The rest of the Mudlarks are pretty much on the other side of the field.
It's a hard thing, and it's a good thing there. So recognizing that it was a turnover that wasn't an interception, anyone can pick up. So they've moved down to make the most of having their player resources committed into the attackable space. Justin Mack on a great cut, looked off in favor of a reset to Howard. Wise in the red zone. Oh, Matthews Hunter with a great one. Can't find Aiden Howard either. Goes back to Joshi Phillip one more time.
Oh.
So aggressive on the defense from Khan. Huge bite out of Millard Cartwright. And a just quick one and gun. Khan peeling off to reset the assignments. Millard Cartwright.
Aiden Howard standing in space and his defense was poaching.
Inside break shot to J-Mac for the score. Justin Mack is going to put Mudlarks through to the second half. The score is 8-5. A phenomenal performance from both of these teams so far. We are going to be back very, very soon with the second half of the Open Final in the 2024 Australian Ultimate Championships Division II in Shepparton, Victoria. My name, as always, is Blair Munro.
I'm Oakley Mullen.
What a pleasure it is to have you here, Oakley. We'll be back for the second half of this match very soon.
Oh,
Crushing it.
oh thank you.
Yeah, it's so much
I'm
easier.
really good at talking shit.
I like it.
I'm not playing. I'm probably good actually. 100%, I love it. It's something I can do while it's talking.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, AUCDI, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world
And
and
beyond.
beyond.
Red hat, red hat.
Great hat.
Nah, I got nothing, mate.
No, okay.
Charles Burchett.
Oh, Charles Burt. Okay,
thank
we've
you,
got him
thanks.
as ADA. That's good to know because I was like,
Yeah, it's tough.
and they've got the disc now.
Like, and it's so heartbreaking too when they do something good and you're just like, fuck them.
Like, great, I don't know your name.
Well done, number 5. I'm glad you ladies had all your kits sorted. There have been a lot of other teams
No,
that
why
just
would
have.
you? Because they're ladies.
No, you'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
Introduce myself, Kron.
Kron, hi.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
nice to meet you, I'm Oakley.
Oh,
Broccoli.
Kron.
Kieran.
Kieran.
Yeah, what's
Kieran
your name?
Hudson. Kieran.
Blair.
Blair.
So
Yeah,
it is
I've heard
Kieran.
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 Like an awning.
Okay.
Window. It's Irish, super Irish. So
Okay.
the second A should have an accent on it.
Cool.
And
Okay,
okay, from
Kieran.
an R to an O.
Cool.
Like the same way Siobhan,
I'm
Yep.
just calling-
Sean.
I'm just
Kieran.
calling you-
Kieran.
I'm just
Cool,
calling
awesome.
you Kieran
Call me
Hudson,
Kron.
though.
Cool. I've just been going with Hudson.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
But yeah, if you've heard my voice, I'm really fucking sorry.
No, it's good. It's good, man. There's a lot of stink. There's a lot of not good commentators, and you're good.
Oh, I appreciate
There's
it.
a lot of not good
Well, it's
commentators.
like,
She's right here, man.
No, but it's like, I mean,
Sorry,
Mike-
pro name.
but Mike will know what I mean. Like sometimes, like it's not easy to find people who want to sit there and watch Frisbee talk about it. And it's
Yeah.
also hard to be good at it. And sometimes I'm listening to streams and I'm like, one of my best friends.
Don't worry about
is
it.
Chopper from Italy.
Sure.
He knows the AUCDI crew.
Yeah.
And his English is sensational off stream. As soon as he goes on the stream, his English.
Just loses it.
And it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not like
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
listen to broken English, it's fine. But
Yeah.
it's like I love it.
But like,
But
all of a
like-
sudden, the ability to articulate
That's
is what
right.
is
I've
what's
tried it.
gone,
It's not
right?
that easy. I've done it once.
Yeah.
I didn't do a terrible job. I didn't do a good job.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man. Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
That's cute. That's really cute. No, I do this sort of playing. It's real sad because I used to be in good shape and I used to be decent, and then it's just a point where people are like, "Oh, are you going to be doing the commentary this year?" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'll go fuck myself when it comes time to do an EOI for the team."
Well, because I did a bunch of commentary because I was having kids, so I couldn't
Yeah,
play.
right.
So I was like, okay, well,
Yeah, right. There you
get
go.
involved that way.
Yeah. Awesome. Right? Thanks. Yeah.
I am neither of those things.
What? And Blair.
Nah, I'm still young.
Which, like, it's actually nothing. It's
I
not.
just finished.
I'm masters at the She's masters at the Cool. Righty. Cool. So, yeah, we got you for another 17 minutes. It's fucking milk.
Yeah.
Unless you want to call it there, because it's halftime's a good time to break if you want to. It's up to you.
No, stay around. Stay around.
Just, yeah. Oh.
That inside.
Oh my God.
It's my favourite throw.
I love it, eh? And welcome back, folks, to the exciting conclusion of the Open Final for the 2024 Australian Ultimate Championships here at Shepparton in Victoria. We were just gushing in the booth about Aiden Howard's inside break shot to find J Mac in the end zone for the score. It's just too pretty. Somebody needs to just frame that man's forehand and hang it up on a wall somewhere.
Not even just the inside forehand, the inside backhand, as we saw previously. His inside shots so far have been pearlers.
Why would you not? If you've got the ability, you might as well make the most of it. And it's good to see that the Geelong Mudlarks are making the most of having an asset like Aiden Howard. But he's not the only one. We've seen some huge shots come up from Louis Broad. We've got Jake Angelovich doing some fantastic work in the end zone. Joshi Phillip doing some great work, helping the handlers cycle everything through. J-Mac driving a lot of the midfield space with great aggressive cuts and also huge coverage on defense. So some fantastic work by all of these Mudlark lads. And we're going to see whether or not Fishwick unit have what it takes to really bring it back and keep it a close final. Only 3 points. It's not an insurmountable deficit.
Fishwick coming out on defense here, though, already down 8-5. So they're going to have to really change up their defense a bit to get these turns back. What things would you be looking for, Blair?
I mean, it's one of those things. I think both of these teams are really, really confident with regards to their match defense, and they've probably played a lot of that. I'd love to see them switch up and just throw down a zone. Just change the tempo a little bit. Stifle some of those shots. It would also give them an opportunity to isolate some of those power throwers like Broad and just prevent them from taking those hucking options.
Justin Mack in the center of the field. Louis Broad with the little jinky dishy, but it looks like there's been a foul or a pick or something called there.
Yeah, I think Epplestone's pursuit of Broad was just the line that he took around behind J-Mac probably meant that Eppleson would have had to make collision with either his teammate or his opposition in order to do so.
Here we are with Matthews Hunter. He's looking. Oh, J-Mac provides it down the line. He looks him off. Broad getting big on the around backhand. Oh,
there it is. Looking for it, or looking for.
Oh!
Couldn't get it, but he's going to call a foul regardless.
The defender went up quite early there, which I think as a receiver, if your defender goes up early, you feel like you've got to get in the contest, because if the defender's going up early,
you don't know how high they can jump. That's exactly it. I always say defense has to go early. It's enough to apply pressure just to maybe throw off the timing on the offense. And I think we did see a little bit of that there.
If you see the replay here, look, the defense goes up nice and early. Almost, it looks like he almost trips over.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That explains the foul call. I was trying to figure out what exactly had happened there.
Did that affect Jake Angelovich's bid at the disc?
Right, I think it might have done. And so it looks like the turnover's going to stand.
Defense did their job.
That's it. That's all you need. McManus with the disc to bring it up to the front of the zone and initiate. We've got Justin Mack and Matthews Hunter in front. Decides to push forehand side, finds Eppleson, marked by Broad. Recenters to McManus. Justin Mack, aggressive. Khan making a crossfield cut, gets the disc as Angelovich peels off.
Whoa.
Eppleson has it, marked by Broad. A little bit of a head nod. Finds a free McManus. Connor Bryce peeling back into the reset space to give an option for those other handlers to clear out. McManus in power position decides instead to find Varley on the sideline. Comes around, finds Yang. We're seeing a lot of great defensive switching here. Those assignments are changing up as players roll in and out. The shot goes up for Varley. And Jelovich. The turn from Varley back towards the camera. A little bit of this, calling for some man on, a bit of support from the sideline to know when to make his attack. He's almost blindsided.
Like that throw, it had a lot of float to it, which meant that it just hung in the air for too long.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where when there's wind, that also has a play into it. But that's the big thing, is when your player's out in space, you want the disc to get to them. If it sits and hangs, you want that in the event that both players are running onto it and you're trusting your receiver to make a great offensive bid for it. in a situation like that, where the defense is able to pick up momentum, they can convert that into a vertical jump much easier than someone who is static, standing under the disc, and possibly even blindsided by the defense in a situation like that.
And that's so correct. If you have a receiver sitting out in yards, you need to put a bit of zest on that throw because you need it to come down quickly.
That's why we throw blades.
That's why we throw blades. I don't think those are intentional either. He slips out of it.
So
who we've got Mudlarks picking up on the far sideline. Looks like Matthews Hunter setting up in a horror for the Muddies there. Tim Wise going early. He's got some jinky movement downfield.
Powell putting a huge amount of pressure to stop that undercut, but J-Mac's going to come through in the midfield. Varley can't stop it.
Hudson back with Matthews Hunter. Back to Hudson on this sideline. He's got flooding Jake as back downfield. He's engaged in the dump. Matthews Hunter's looked off. Tim
Hits
Wise
on the inside under.
There is
Looks like
a
a
timeout.
timeout called. Well, we've seen the Mudlarks do it already this game. Call a time. Send that big shot. I mean, we saw it last time. It was Broad. I believe it was Broad for Angelovich the first time as well.
No, it was Howard.
It was Howard. That's right. Howard on the undercut. We had Trotter setting up in that reset spot. You're absolutely right. Howard putting it up for Charles Burchett towards the end zone, who managed to put away that assist. They're going to have the opportunity to do the same thing, making a called play. They're quite close to the end zone. They don't necessarily need those power throws to get into position. Players of this caliber can probably throw a half-field forehand relatively comfortably without overexerting themselves. So it gives them a little bit more versatility in terms of what they do on this next play, but it also means because of all of those options, the Fishwick unit defense are going to have to be really dialed in, maybe have to call an audible as they see what the defense or the offensive structure looks like.
I completely agree there, Blair. I think as well what we're going to see is the Mudlarks trying to do almost exactly the same thing. And I think what Fishwick will need to do is have their back of stack defense setting up deep.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing we haven't actually seen a lot of through this tournament is bracketing. We've seen a lot of zone, we've seen a lot of match defense, but those match defense, it's not a reactive, switchy defense. We're sticking to those same assignments throughout most of the point. The sort of the flip side of that, the zone, we're sticking to his zone. What I'd really love to see, something like this, having a player defensively like McManus, leaving J-Mac with a little bit of room, but that'll allow him to pick up someone further back in the stack, cutting under. The flip side is we have Connor Bryce at the back of the stack, might be able to do the reverse in the deep space.
We've got there it is, it's up, he's looking for Justin Mack,
the 360 into the fist pound.
And that is precisely what we were talking about earlier on, Blair, about the rule of lateral thirds. That flick came up and there was not enough arc for Justin Mack to read it and get under it effectively.
Yeah, I mean, great reflexes and athleticism on display, but there's only so much you can do with that. Hudson peels off to try and shut down Khan. Wise with the tumble. He's only gone and done it.
Massive bid from Tim Wise there.
And he kept his hat on as well. What an athlete. The big shot going up. Can he get the bookends? Chase it. Too much dip on that chip. It's going to carry it out the back of the end zone.
I mean, no surprises who put that one up there. Louis Broad. That
if you hadn't said
flick.
it, I still would have guessed it.
Fishwick now, they've got quite a deep stack there. Quite a very spread out stack there and no dump.
I mean, just considering the amount of legs on that throw, maybe Louis Broad needs to get out of the gym. Khan pushes towards far sideline. Miscommunication to McManus. He didn't realize it was for him. It's going to touch turf. We're going to see Joshy Phillip pick up the disc, marked by Varley. They've got a lot of width to use. Broad's coming back, available as a reset. The remainder of the players, J-Mac in isolation. Not going to be an option. Broad coming back. He's marked closely.
He's just clogging that space. Looking, there's not enough.
Wise.
Tim Wise couldn't keep the hat on this time there, Blair.
But who it doesn't matter because he got the disc in the end zone. Mudlarks 9, Fishwick unit on 5. Fantastic ultimate on display. And honestly, not too dissimilar a repeat from your performance earlier against Zag Theory. You outscored them 2-1, a final finish. Spoilers if you haven't watched that game yet. Although, realistically, the fact that Aucdii is here with us in the booth means she's not playing right now, so the bronze final wouldn't have Ellipsis Pilcrow in it. It's a 15-6 finish. Now, at one point, I believe it was 5-10, and then it went 6-12, and then you just took it away. And we're seeing a similar thing from the Geelong Mudlarks here as well, which is fantastic. That's what you want your champions to look like. You want them to be dominant. Now, Fishwick, not to say that they are not putting in a huge amount of work here, but it's just that when mistakes are made, Mudlarks are the ones who are capitalizing.
I was about to say the exact same thing, Blair. We saw the defensive turn, and Fishwick were bringing it back, and then there was that miscommunication over on the far sideline where I think the handler thought McManus was coming under, but he was going for a slightly deeper shot, and they just turned it really quickly, which it sucks because you put in the work to get the defense, and then you don't reap the benefits.
Absolutely. Oh, and it's just heartbreaking too for little things like that, unforced errors to be the thing that give the disc up in a high-stakes situation like this. Bethune, Howard nearly managing to get it. Jaleel puts a big shot up, looking for Millard Cartwright, looking for Govert. Oh, couldn't get it.
I almost thought they were going to keep looking for the unders down this sideline there again.
I'm really glad to see Fishwick trying to uncork it a little bit more. Just putting up those big shots, not so reliant on the short game, which I think the Mudlarks are probably starting to adapt to, which is where we're seeing a lot of these turns come from. Adaptability is key. Bear Grylls has done and said many things, but to improvise, adapt, and overcome, I think, is really important in a situation like this. Reading the defense, the thing that I always tell players, particularly the ones who listen to me anyway, is read what your opponents are doing. Over the course of a game, you should learn something about how your opponent fakes, how they cut, what their first step looks like. Howard can't quite get the around as Beard peels out of the cut.
Whoa!
Patel, denial. Mitchell, sorry. Asher Gentle, back to Bethune. Mitchell, near sideline.
Almost a bit of confusion from the Mudlarks defence. There was a lot of people unmarked, unmanned.
Wide open on the near sideline, middle of the zone. Great bid from Kyle Beard, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to see that again as Fishwick bring it back to within 3. Mitchell has actually 2 great cuts coming into that open space. Decides instead, as the defense has peeled off, wide open. And that's Bethune with the score.
Yeah, you're seeing the replay here. Elliot Trotter stays in the lane to try and make that undercut less enticing, but in doing so, opens up the deep space for the disc just to go straight over his head. And as we discussed earlier as well, when you're playing defense, you can't cover everything. So by making the decision to stay in the lane and potentially cut off the next undercut, in doing so, he's given up the deep space, which has given away the score.
And so Mudlarks with an opportunity to break double digits. This might be your last point only. We're coming up close to the time at which your wonderful teammates are going to require you to help lead them in a great warm-up as we lead into the finals. So hopefully we'll be able to get through this point before that happens. I'd love to have your input all the way throughout. It's been a pleasure having you in the booth, by the way. Horvat with the big outside pull with a roll. Stopped comfortably early. Matthews Hunter
got Phillip on the far sideline. He's moving it quickly there to Burchett, I believe. He's surveying his options. He's just looking to centre it straight away. Back here to Matthews Hunter.
We are seeing a bit more of a zoney look almost. Certainly the way that the handlers are responding, trying to react.
Oh, nice loopy backhand to Wise. And he's faking. Broads lost a little bit of ground. He looked like he was going to unleash it there.
It looked like the right move. Decides to go to J-Mac instead.
Straight back again. Needs some more downfield options. There's Birchhead again, providing a nice gainer.
And Jelic poaching off in the end zone. Trying to look.
Not a lot of movement. Finds Phillip. You can see he's got eyes for the end zone right now. He's got eyes for the end zone. Broad's trying to provide an option. Oh, it's a very jinky one.
So sneaky through the defense there.
He needs an undercut, needs an effective undercut.
Willith Gamua forces the almost dad backhand lateral.
The dad backhand, which you don't see very often now.
There's a
Matthews,
reason
Hunter,
for it.
Oh, and Jelic.
And Jelic with the score to bring Mudlarks to 10, 5 points away from a victory. I mean, we asked for them to finish that point within the next couple of minutes, and the lads from Geelong delivered.
They answered our prayers there. It's been a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I'll see you out on the field in about 40 minutes.
Perfect. Enjoy your warm-up. Best of luck for the finals. Thanks so much. And Jelic with the emphatic elbow spike. And a big thanks again to Oakley Mullen for joining us in the booth between games, having helped her defensive line for Ellipsis Pilcrow, doing a huge amount of work on the pull and really driving a lot of the defense, applying a lot of aggressive intensity with disc control and the athleticism, taking a bit of time out of her schedule, while the rest of her team are resting and having lunch. Elliot Trotter puts the shot up. Bethune to field early. We are seeing a zone defense from the Mudlarks here. Mitchell pinned down on the sideline, goes up and over with a blade, finds Sanger, working with Burt with a 1-2. Keeps going to Burt, pushing up far sideline. Bethune to Pyle to Mitchell, putting it out wide for a quick shot to Millard Cartwright. I think 6 out of 7 players on the field touched the disc for that possession for Fishwick unit to bring it back within 3. That was a fantastic offensive display from Fishwick, and now they need to bring it out on defense and do it again. Big pull is going to see Broad one more time, catching the disc midfield off a resetting pass from Matthews Hunter. Goes by way of Mac, back to Matthews Hunter, to Wise, to Broad near sideline. Varley closing off the hucking lane, cutting through to Phillips. Too slow to continue that continuation, decides to look back to Broad. Joshi Phillip getting involved. And a travel called. Piers Fluke. Mac resetting. Phillip now. Back to Mac. Working with Broad again. The high blade is an option. Decides to look back for a short reset to Phillip. Working with Mac. Matthews Hunter getting involved. Available as a reset, deciding instead to push towards the far sideline. It's Broad. Pinned down by the cup, decides to lose yards on a vertical reset. An interesting shot, but he's able to get it through. Back to Broad to Phillip. Mack available, Wise circling through the remaining players. Deep into the downfield, not doing a huge amount. Very, very handler reliant, this Mudlarks line. And Jelovic, Burchett just patrolling. Cutting without reward. Khan gonna get there. Varley's got it, marked by Burchett. Khan on an up line. Wise, slow to pursue, puts it up, big and across. Who's he got? The second attempt is Tom Harvey, pulling it down for Fishwick unit. 2 points in it, folks, but a foul has been called. It's almost like the players are doing it on purpose, just to take the wind out of my sails. That's all right, folks. We'll see again. Now, who's calling the foul on that one, I think, is the main question. It's a great high forehand, peeling across. I think while there was contact, had that foul not occurred, Tom Harvey probably would have still ended up with the disc. But it's up to the players to make that resolution themselves. They do have the support of a game advisor who's on the field at the moment in the green shirt to give them a bit of insight if they ask for it. An advisor's opinion is non-binding, but it's always important to have someone who's well versed in the rules to provide some external perspective, who is impartial. That's going to be a goal after all. Fishwick back within 2. Going to get to see that again. Harvey with the score. After the resolution, they are going to call it. Just a phenomenal forehand shot by Ashik Khan for Fishwick unit to bring it back within 2. Harvey with the pull. Touching down, just in bounds on the far sideline. Trotter going back to Matthews Hunter as the defense looks to close. Goes back to Trotter. Willem Garnier aggressive on the mark. J-Mac with the disc now. Willem Garnier, a pressure right at the front of the end zone. He's so active. Keeping the grind, always on, really applying the pressure. Trotter squeezing through, gets an open reset, but not gaining a lot from it. Chen stopping the continuation on the up line. It's Wise, back to Phillip. Matthews Hunter cutting through, wants to take a bite. It's not going to happen, looks back for Wise. All the way back to Trotter, who's now on an explosive give-go, but it's Phillip who walks away with it. Eppelston dropping off. The disc just going back. An opportunity for Wise to swing wide to the near sideline, decides not to. To Phillip as Chen closes the gap. J Mac with the disc now. To Phillip. Sends it right through to Matthews Hunter, finds Broad. Wise pushing towards the end zone, goes back to find Phillip. Trotter is available, but Willith Gamua shuts off that option first. It comes across the second time, finds Wise. McManus peeling off to pick another assignment. An unmarked J-Mac. Laser show through, right outside. It's Matthews Hunter, but there's nothing developing for him in the downfield space. Decides to reset to J-Mac. That's going to do it. Matthews Hunter for the score. Mudlarks 11 over Fishwick 8. Get to see that again. Just a sneaky little step through by Daniel Matthews Hunter for the score. Mudlarks with the pull. Trotter puts it up. Bethune, Sanga, Jaleel. Lots of fakes. Trying to get around Medic. Sanga secures it. Back to Jaleel. To Bethune. Puts a shot up, looking for Sanga. Finds him. Fishwick back within 2. This is what a final is supposed to look like, folks. Tooth and nail, eye and claw. The big shot goes up. Hudson underneath. But Sanga with the read. Timeout has been called. Fishwick a few on the bounce, only 2 behind now. Mudlarks need to find a way to stop that momentum. They have a slightly longer roster, not by much, but also Fishwick unit really, really aggressively playing. Some hot energy coming through from those lads. Mudlarks a little bit more calm, which runs contrary to what we actually saw or what we were expecting to see based on an evaluation from the Mudlarks coach. Yes, we've got big shooters on that Mudlarks side, but a lot of the dynamicism is actually coming through from Fishwick, particularly in the later stages of the match. So we'll see what kind of adjustment these teams are going to make. We'll be back after a very short break.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
And we are back. Game to 15. Although I believe we have 80 minutes of a soft cap, we are 74 minutes into it now. A 2-point difference. We're going to see Fishwick unit down on defense. Horvat with the pull we've seen. Using that wide sweep of the arms to have an outside-in roller pull. Which means it blades in early and touches, but the idea is that it's a little less predictable. And hopefully you can leave the offense scrambling a bit, which should give you some opportunity to really pour pressure on as the defense closes in and puts the jaws of the trap around the offensive handler set. Decides to go inside out instead. Not going to come back in. Uncharacteristic of Eric Horvat. Looks like Mudlarks are going to play it from the sideline where it left the field of boundary, so they'll get slightly more than halfway for free. Phillip to pick up. An accepted foul. Joshi Phillips, hope he's got his passport with the traveling on that throw. Very quick to move that pivot foot, keeping it in contact with the ground this time. We find a recentering pass to Broad. J-Mac. Phillip goes back around to Broad. Big crossfield hammer for Angelovic. And that's going to be Mudlarks 12 over Fishwick 9. Great work by Angelovic. Fishwick to come out on offense. Howard with the big pull, as he's known to do. Fielded by Burt. Garbutt. Burt. Powell. Marked by Burchett. Continues on the up line. Finds Jaleel. Bethune struggling to shake free, but gets it over Trotter. Laser show to the back of the end zone for Paul. It's good. phenomenal score by Fishwick to keep the game close. Bethune immediately putting the cannon up. Pulled down despite a great chase from Burchett. Well, that's going to be 12-10. Still 2 points in it. Only a minute or so away from hitting our soft cap. To the best of my knowledge, we are still currently a race to 15, but that may change within the next couple of minutes. Harvey with the pull, keeping it low, using the length. Joshi Phillip having to shield his eyes to track it in, finds Broad early. We are seeing a bit of a saggy defense, which is great. It's gonna come in low. That's what Fishwick want. Quick reset from Khan to McManus. Harvey pushing into the deep space. Varley, great cut to the break side, but couldn't get the inside shot. Off balance and around, finds Khan. Laser drive to Harvey for the score. First and last touches on the possession. Just fantastic way to put that point away. Fishwick unit back within one. Mudlarks up by a single point. So as the score, the time cap has gone, I believe that we need to play this point and then add one to the highest score. So the point is considered to have started at the very instant the previous point is scored. As the point was scored during the celebrations, the hooter went, our time cap ticked over, but this point is yet to be played. So we still need to play through this point, add one to the highest score, and then we're going to see what it's a race to and who's going to win. Harvey with the big pull. It's fading towards the far sideline. A little bit inconsistent with some of his pulls. Tom Harvey has been throughout the course of the tournament. When they are on, oh boy, are they on. Fishwick unit on defense. Matthews Hunter gets a big bite out of Chen, uses the breathing room to push laterally, gets the disc back, doesn't do anything too risky. Justin Mack back to Matthews Hunter. Wise available as an option on the other side. Joshi Phillip crowding the space a little bit, trying to get involved as Chen wants to get close along with McManus to try and pinch down on it. Chen, nice and aggressive on the mark. McManus overcommits. Wise finds Angelovich on the near sideline. Justin Mack trying to jump the disc forward one step at a time. Wise, despite a bite, that's going to be the opportunity that Broad needs. Decides not to capitalize in the way that we've seen him do so far. Broad's got it all the way through to Wise. Chip across to Phillip. Mack getting back involved. Back to Phillip. Broad on the near sideline. Decides to put a hammer up, looking for Wise on the doorstep. Can he close this one out? And looks like there's been a call. Just waiting for a little bit of resolution from the players. Our game advisor on the field as well to provide advice and perspective that is non-binding, but it's important for the players to take into consideration if they ask for it. Wise to bring the disc back in just a moment. We've moved past our soft cap. There's 1 point in the game. A Mudlarks score here means it is a race to 14. Decides instead to reset, goes by way of Phillip to find Mac. We've got Broad again, nice and open on the near side. Wise cutting through with the under, getting some head swivels from the defense, putting them all through the spin cycle. Phillip winds up the hammer, decides against it. Broad with a pump fake, decides to commit through with the backhand to Wise. Goes to Matthews Hunter. Wide again to Phillip. Drops the hammer for J-Mac. And the score. One more, folks. It's a race to 14. Mudlarks all taking the field, figuring out which 7 players they want on to close this one out now and walk home as champions. Predictions were made before the game. The Mudlarks just do not know how to lose when it comes to moments like this. Will Fishwick unit be the ones to teach them that horrible lesson? Only time will tell. We see the hands up signals for readiness. Mitchell, Jaleel, Bethune, Millard Cartwright, Sanger. Some great offensive powerhouses here on this Fish line. Aiden Howard. Beautiful pull. Fielded by Sanger. Works with Bethune early. Huge bid from Matthews Hunter's not going to be enough. He's out of position now. Millard Cartwright with a quick 1-2 to give some yards to Sanger. Tries for the inside break, not going to work. Finds Burt near sideline. It's pressuring. Millard Cartwright's underneath it. So is Aiden Howard. Who's going to get there? What a huge touch. Millard Cartwright just a half second too early. Couldn't quite get there. It's going to give the disc back to the Mudlarks. Mudlark offense here is going to win them the championship unless the Fishwick unit can do something about it.
Hey, Will, no under! Will, under! Come on, Paddy! Come on, Paddy!
Matthews Hunter marked down by Sanger. A little bit of a tumble there early. Before play resumes. Matthews Hunter pushing deep. Finds Phillip. That's going to be a turn from Burt. Managing to generate that one. Bethune right on the doorstep. One of the premier handlers for Fishwick unit. Just needs an isolation. Mitchell's got him shaken free. That's going to do it. Fishwick unit back within 1. A race to 14 is on, folks. Fishwick unit. Defensive line coming out. McManus. Khan. Bryce. Harvey. Big pull. Fielded by Mack. Wise to Matthews Hunter. Goes around to Broad. Snatches that one down over Ashik Khan. Goes around, finds Matthews Hunter, my apologies. I'm too excited. Goes to Wise, back to Broad. Puts the shot up for the win. He's only gone and done it. Mudlarks win that one there for Claire and Billy, and no mistake. Watching at home, how proud are you of Dad? Louis Broad with the big shot. Wants to close that one out. The score is 14-12. Your Geelong Mudlarks over Fishwick unit. A Cinderella story in tatters, to quote the 2004 movie Dodgeball. Fishwick unit fighting hard, bringing it back so close that they could taste gold, and yet they will be feasting on silver tonight. Your 2024 Division II Australian Ultimate Championships in the Opens Division are your Geelong Mudlarks. Well done. Both of these teams, a fantastic performance. We've still got one exciting match coming up for you now, the Women's Division Final between the Wollongong Surge and Ellipsis Pilcrow. Stay tuned. My name is Blem and I'm here with AUCDI.TV and the proud support of the Australian Flying Disc Association. Please, if you like what you see and you want to help us keep bringing the best sport in the world, the best athletes, the best people to your screens, head on over to patreon.com/AUCDI.TV and give us your spare change. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back with the next one very soon.